Good morning, people. Happy Sunday. Waking up very late because I decided that I was going to sleep in a little later today. Yesterday, I participated in the Century Plus Cruise fifth annual ride to Montauk. Um, this was my second ride to Montauk, and I had a good ride. A year ago, when I completed this ride, um, I rode with the B group, and I was really much a novice in so many ways of cycling and developing as a rider. And um, between that ride and this ride, I kept thinking a lot about this year's ride and the things I wanted to accomplish um, personally um, over the course of the year. And during that time period, one of the things that I worked on was developing my endurance. I thought I had good endurance, but I learned that I needed to develop um, real endurance. And then I wanted to develop speed endurance. I didn't have a training plan or anything like that, and so that's probably something that I'm going to look into next cycling season. Um, but during that time period, as I started to work on things in the winter, um, I was very fortunate to meet up with some good people that brought me into their communities to ride um, frequently. Amazing people who, um, if I could shout them out now, after the Century Plus cruise, New Haven ride, I met Dwayne Mapp, who um, has the group Island Lunatics Cycling Club. And he invited me to come to Island Lunatics, and a lot of their rides were very frequent, and it was kind of close to home, which was one of the big things for me. Primarily because as a father, I still have my responsibilities of pick up, drop offs, while doing my own responsibilities as a doctoral student. And it just was so convenient to do those rides with them. Um, and so I got better. I met Kevin, um, who was so generous in sharing his knowledge, and this gave me a lot of tips about becoming a better rider. Um, and then the entire Lunatics crew. I met people like who just inspired me with their kind of like determination and their soft demeanor. Phil, um, and Stephanie, in particular, really inspired me with their with just a quiet confidence and low key badassness. I can't believe I said that. But at the same point in time too, um, I grew as a rider. I became stronger as a rider. I started looking at the things that people like Michael Cumming um, would do, and people like Michael Mankong, all of those guys who are such amazing riders, um, inspired me. And I started geeking out. I started like following them, like if I'm some kind of fan, like how fans follow soccer players. I was following these guys and looking at how they're riding. I'll ask them questions about certain things, and I will just keep soaking it in. So come yesterday, I decided I was going to ride with the A group, and this was I think my third century ride in the A group. But this Montauk ride in particular, I know was going to be a little bit more pacier because the elevation is a little bit flat. Most of the elevation is going to come after at the tail end of the ride, where you get to the, after you come out of the Montauk village, you go into the when you go into the lighthouse, you are going up these rolling hills, which after 125 miles, 128 miles, you really don't have anything. Yeah, I'm back. I had to cut that video short, simply because parental duties, family duties beckons. But where I wanted to pick up from where I left off was the ride from the Montauk town itself to the lighthouse is really much a test of your willpower. And many times I've seen people arrive at Montauk and say, I am not doing the last part, y'all go ahead, I am good. Last year when I rode that thing, I didn't know how to like work my gears. I didn't know how to use speed and momentum coming down the hill, and then just using that to climb the hill. I didn't understand much about cadence. So coming around this year, I felt very confident because I felt very good about getting over hills. Even though what is true about this Montauk ride is that if you spend the first 128 miles, if you spend the most of the 128 miles really keeping a decent pace of say 18 to 25 miles per hour, you're gonna feel it in your legs. So by the time we got to those rolling hills, it was really a test of your will. And so I saw a couple of the guys from the A team just pull off, and at the time I was like, I don't have it. I've gotten this far, I'm doing good. Let me just keep going and see where I reach and push off. And so I was happy I was able to do that, because when I got to the lighthouse, everybody was there. Big congratulations. Very thankful to folks like Serena, Lennox, Joe, the original members of Century Plus crew. Again, such an amazing group of folks who do a lot to encourage you to push yourself. And so I was really encouraged to meet them there. And so other people came in later on in the ride, and then we made our way back to Montauk, Montauk proper, and then we caught the train and came back. So I just kept thinking about the difference between a year and like the work that went into getting myself to finish at the way I finished, and to ride the length I did, and to sustain that. Several things had to work. One, being on the saddle a lot more, and there was a lot of intentionality behind that, and I was happy about that. Understanding that moving into next year, I definitely would need a lot more structure in my training, so I'm going to be addressing those things. I definitely know that my nutrition is close to being there. Someone who has had to keep at bay type 2 diabetes, you are constantly having to watch your carbohydrate intake and balance it off properly with the right amount of proteins and everything like that. So that's only the one thing that I'll probably have to think about significantly. And then strength training, and the right kind of strength training, which I've always struggled with, because wanting to lift and then ride, and then knowing when to lift, how to lift, and not have it affect your riding. I'm still trying to figure that out, because some days I'm lifting, and when I mean lifting, I mean lower body. So whether it's barbell back squats or barbell front squats, goblet squats, boggin, split squats, leg pressing, hamstring curls, deadlifting, all of those things, pistol squats, TRX, you know what I'm talking about. Whether it's any of those kinds of exercises, um, knowing knowing what my workout routine is, and then making sure that I fit it between that along with the rides I'm going to do and the type of rides I'm going to do, so that when I'm finishing up a ride or I'm halfway through the ride and there's a sprint and you're trying to push through and you just start feeling your quads locking up on you, it's not cool. It's absolutely not cool. And I know that those things come from the workouts that I was doing in the gym. So how I fuel my body, what I put in my body to ensure that I have recovered enough is critically important. And I'm looking forward to it. So this really is very much really much a thank you to the two cycling clubs um, that has really supported me in me improving. Um, Century Plus School, who I started riding first with, and once again Island Lunatics Cycling Club. Those two are very close to my heart, and its members are absolutely phenomenal. Amazing communities, both of them, and I kind of speak enough about them.
No, because when me and Michael McCon got to the town, it was like